Gathering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.
Welcome to Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials, a show where we delve week by week into each chapter of the Harry Potter series.
Hello, Ari.
Hello, Adam.
Ew, sorry. I couldn't even.
Annie.
Annie.
How are you?
Great.
Great.
That's all I'm going to say right now. I'm not going to jinx anything.
We're going to spoil anything. More to come.
I'll tell Adam
more
later.
to come later. Yeah.
Maybe. Let's hope so.
We're manifesting that more is to come later.
I just want to say, Nan, thank you for thinking about me. Your manifestations have worked. I can feel your prayers from over here. Thank you. You are so sweet.
Yes. This week.
How are you? What are you doing today on this very nice Independence Day? Not celebrating our independence.
Not celebrating America. I'll say that.
Certainly am not as a woman.
Nope. Or a gay person.
Or a gay person, or a person of color.
Oy vey. Well, Ari, this week,
Yes.
we took ourselves out of the heat of the summer and into the chill of the Christmas season because read chapter 23 called Christmas on the Closed Ward. What happens in this chapter?
Okay, this one was a little difficult. And I'm doing it on the fly because I never think about these until Adam asks me. Harry alienates himself before Hermione shows up and they all go to see Mr. Weasley for Christmas and discover some interesting patients.
Yeah.
Patients of importance. They discover some patients of importance at...
POIs. Yeah.
Yeah. At St. Mungo's. Okay.
Great. Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty well said, actually, for being on the fly.
You could. I mean, the only other thing is like Harry goes through a depressive state.
Well, I said he alienates himself.
Yeah.
Like, so it's he's like...
It's probably the
He's
closest
having a
the
moment.
series ever comes to like explaining what
is going on.
What it feels like to be violated, the feeling of feeling violated.
I had
and
that
also,
same thought.
It's crazy to read. I was like, wow, this is really visceral. And also like the hopelessness of like depression when it really like, sets in. Yeah.
Yeah. Chapter 23 opens with Harry wondering if this was why Dumbledore won't look at him. He's like, okay, well, he must think that I'm possessed by Voldemort then, and he's gonna look at me and then see Voldemort's eyes looking back, I guess, so that's cool. And then he's like, oh my god, remember Quirrell and how Quirrell had Voldemort like on the back of his head, and then he's kind of like, ugh, because he's like thinking about if Voldemort was like gonna pop out of his skull. It's gross. And so then, feeling violated, he describes that he feels dirty and contaminated because of this vision that he's had of being the snake. And then once again, his brain is just spiraling. Like this book, I feel like does this really well where it shows what that feels like.
Yeah.
He starts spiraling and then he's like, oh my gosh, I'm the weapon. I'm the weapon that he's looking for. And he's like, Dumbledore's not worried about me. He's worried about other people around me. He's like worried that I'm going to hurt someone. And then he's like spiraling, you know, in his brain, like looks really pale, does not look good. Molly notices and she's like, did you sleep? I think you should go right up to bed when we get back. Like, you need to just rest. And so he's still, even like when he gets back home, he's still just kind of like trapped in this spiral of thoughts about, you know, how is he connected to Voldemort? What's happening? He doesn't really understand. He's like, maybe Voldemort could be an animagus. Animagus?
Yeah.
He's going through what the options are. So he's like, am I an animagus? And then he's like, no. Is Voldemort an animagus? He would be a snake. That would be what he is. But then he's like, no, I don't think that could be what is happening though. Like he's like, I don't really buy that. And then he's all of a sudden horrified because he's realizing if he can get into my head, then he can see all this information about the order. And he's like, and we're Sirius's.
And all the information. Yes. And he's like, I made them tell me all this stuff at the beginning of this book that I'm a character.
Yeah, I've been listening in on things. Like, and now he knows it. So then he's like, well, I need to leave. He's like, I have to get out of here. I can't be here. I need to go back to Hogwarts. And then he's like, but then at Hogwarts, there's like people I could hurt too. And so he's just like, oh, it doesn't matter. I need to get out of here. Like, I can't be here. So then he like gets all his stuff kind of like packed up, ready to go. And then all of a sudden, Phineas Nigellus chooses this moment to speak to Harry. And what I'm assuming is that Phineas saw Harry was getting ready to leave or like overheard it and then told Dumbledore, I think he's trying to go it looks like he's trying to go somewhere. To which Dumbledore was like, it's because it's Dumbledore, Voldemort. Does that happen to you too? It's so annoying. Dumbledore is like, stay where you are. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because at first he's like, I have a message from Dumbledore, stay where you are. And Harry's like, I haven't moved. And he's like, no, that was the message.
No, you're dumb. Listen.
And so then Harry's like, he's very upset by this, the whole like stay where you are, because it's taking him back to the incident over the summer and how that happened. And then he was like, why wouldn't anyone tell me anything? They just keep telling me to stay put, like, and not do anything and not get involved. And then Phineas is like, you know, you don't know everything. Maybe there's a reason that Dumbledore isn't telling you everything. And maybe like you don't know best.
It is wild to like literally be reading and be like, wow, maybe Phineas.
Maybe I agree with Phineas.
Maybe I'm Phineas Nigellus. I don't want to wake up from my nap to help.
Yeah. Okay? I don't want to go anywhere. I'm way too tired. Harry's being a brat.
I want to yell at a teen.
So then Phineas leaves. He just like dips out of his portrait. And then Harry's just like, ugh. But then he's like, okay, well, if Dumbledore said that I can stay here, then like surely I can sleep because he's just exhausted. And I did feel kind of bad that he is tired, but like feels like he can't sleep. Like that is so awful when you're exhausted, but then you feel like you can't actually rest. It's the worst.
Yeah.
So once again, pretty much as soon as he falls asleep, he starts dreaming of this long corridor with the door at the end of it again. Mm-hmm. But then when he gets close to the door, it won't open. And then he's like desperately just all he wants is to see what's on the other side of that door, apparently. Yeah. And then right at this moment, Ron yells into the room which I was like, he yells? Why wouldn't he be like, hey, Harry? Like, why is he yelling? Harry, Mom made dinner. Like, he's asleep.
I couldn't tell. So the way it's written, he's like asleep hearing it. So he says the voice sounds really, really far away. But
you think he was physically like down the hall?
Yeah, this might be another one of those Jim Dale. Like Jim Dale may have read it like he was like yelling. But I don't know if it's supposed to be that way. Let me find it. Hold on real quick. Ow, okay. I just gave myself a paper cut.
Oh no, those are the worst.
Harry, said Ron's voice from far, far away. Mum says dinner's ready, but she'll save you something if you want to stay in bed. Harry opened his eyes, but Ron had already left the room. He doesn't want to be on his own with me, Harry thought, not after what he heard Moody say.
Yeah, but
so
see,
I thought he came in and he was just like, hey, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then maybe that was a Jim Dale situation.
Did he read it like it was like, hello, Harry?
Yeah, Harry, Mom's made dinner, but so, yeah, it was, so, okay, so it just sounds like a long way away because he's like in the corridor somehow. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Because he's like mid-dream.
Yeah. He's astral projecting. This is what we would spiritualists call this astral projecting.
But this is like, he is actually this is a dream. He's just like remembering.
I don't know.
Do you think?
I don't know. That's why I'm like, I feel like it could be Voldemort there. So it's hard to tell, like, which I maybe think is the point. I guess, but it's always dark down there. Yeah, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it's underground, so it doesn't even matter. But I mean, I meant in the middle of the day as in like, wouldn't people be?
Yeah, be in the ministry. Yeah. Right. Maybe because it's Christmas Eve, maybe not. It's pretty standard for everyone to have Christmas Eve off here in the UK.
In this book, it talks about how it's later, but they talk about how the underground is like closed on Christmas Day, and I had to Google that to see if that's true, and I could not. The idea that no, it's true that like it's true. London Underground, the day of Christmas is just like not operational, which I don't. The idea that a form of transit is just like, sorry. Yeah. It's a holiday. It's a Christian holiday. Yeah. It's wild to me. I know that I think Christmas is like a bigger holiday in the UK than it is even America. But
Yeah, it could be. I know that is very standard for it to just be fully closed, everything to be fully closed. No one's going to be working on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Or really even in like New Year's, like that whole time, that whole week. But yeah, that is crazy. I would assume that like cabs and stuff are still available. But it's like if the underground isn't working, then wouldn't that mean like buses aren't working either? Just like no transport?
Because the idea would be like you're closing it so then everyone can have a day off, right? Like your train operators, your station guards, blah, 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 everybody. So
that's
then,
what I'm saying, yeah.
It is probably also buses, but then what if you have to go like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah. I don't know. Harry tells himself that Ron left the room because he doesn't want to be alone with him after hearing what Moody said, as Adam read. And so then he's like, well, I'm not going to go down to dinner because I don't want to subject them to have to be around me. And I just want to say that as someone that has been dealing with depression, like since the move, this was like a very real moment for me where it's like, when
I thought of you while I was reading this.
It's just like, I know what that feels like to be like, oh my God, I don't like how I'm being right now. So I don't really want anyone to have to be around me because I'm so like miserable. It's just like, I was like, oh, poor Harry. And he's like trying to protect himself from people, but then alienating himself more, which is like a huge trap that you fall into when you're depressed.
Right.
You just can't help it.
No, I don't want to. In Harry's situation, I don't know if it's as altruistic as like he feels like he's being a bummer, so he doesn't want to bum people out. I don't think that's where he is.
That's what it made me think of. Yeah, for Harry, it's very much that he's like, no one wants to be around me anyway. It's like he's very like
he has decided
Harry.
That this is how people feel about him. Yeah,
I do think in this situation, because there is a part in this chapter where I'm really going to be like, Harry, you need to get it together because of something that happens. And I bet it's the same thing. Yeah, I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the next day.
This could have been a great way to like establish a specific character and the way I would have felt about a relationship later that happens in the series, as if this character had been more established in the way that she is in the book. We're talking about Ginny, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the next day, they're putting up decorations, and Sirius is singing Christmas carols because he's very excited to have company for the holidays, which I think is very sweet. Like, he's clearly just, like, very lonely. So, like, good for him. You have something to say?
Christmas carols that are not religious is... He said... This is... Again,
God rest ye merry hippogriffs.
Right, but what... The next verse is...
No, I know.
It's so funny to me that, like, this series was, like, blasted by, like, the evangelical right when it came out because it's, like, it's, like, Satanist, right? It was dumb. It's always been stupid, right? But whatever. And then, like, in the book series itself, they're celebrating literal Christmas.
Yeah, they're so clearly Christian.
There's so many, like, they could have easily been like, we're celebrating, like, the winter solstice. Like, they're not doing that. It is Christmas. They are trees and presents and Father Christmas is referenced.
Father Christmas,
Yes. They dress up. Well, we'll talk about it. The house elf heads.
Yeah, that was a whole thing. I don't think I even made a note of that, though, so that's good that you mentioned that, because I was like, I'm not going to talk about that.
Is it good that I mentioned it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sure, fair enough, but like, what is that? It's like, guys, what are we doing?
These
Take
are
them
dead.
down. Bury them. Why leave them there? Ugh. I mean, I know some of the stuff is like, she's like, his mother is attached stuff, but I'm like, don't decorate them? Ugh.
Oh, my God.
So Sirius is very happy. Harry's up in the room where Buckbeak is, like, hiding out from everyone, and he hears the doorbell ring, but just assumes, like, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with him. Harry, have you learned nothing? Everything has to do with you. Like, everything just... It's all revolving around you. Anyway, so Hermione has arrived. It was Hermione that rung the doorbell, and then hammers on the door of Buckbeak's room to come in because she knows that he's hiding there. And then she's like, I know you're in there, bitch. I know you're there. And she's given up skiing to come and stay with Harry and Ron for Christmas.
Did we talk about the skiing thing when we recorded on Sunday? Did we talk about this at all?
I don't think so.
Or maybe it was the chapter before. 2 chapters ago.
No.
I don't think we talked about it. This is what I thought, because in the moment they're talking about how like they're going to go away for holiday. Hermione references she's going skiing. Ron has no idea what skiing is, so she kind of explains it. And he thinks it's really funny.
Yeah.
The idea of like putting planks on your feet and skiing.
Yeah, sliding down snow.
But I don't like... He thinks it's like some muggle, like, it's so funny that muggles would travel this way. You go to school on a train. I don't understand. Like, Ronald, what are you talking about, buddy?
The train has been normalized for him, Adam. He grew up looking forward to riding that train. It's a special treat for him.
I also refuse to believe that there aren't wizards that ski. I'm sorry. Maybe
they have to have some
French
version
wizards
of it.
are skiing. I refuse to believe that is not happening.
Yeah.
They love to ski.
Also, Hermione is clearly like from a very wealthy family. Like they're always going to. She vacations in Paris. I guess they're dentists. Maybe dentists make a lot of money here. Maybe I don't know. But they're doing very well for themselves because Hermione's always vacationing.
They're good dentists.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, listen,
Hermione's always
in the UK,
holidaying.
that's where to make your money. Hello.
You say that, but I think that's like a generational thing.
I know.
Because I'm like, everyone I know has like very nice.
Yeah. I think it's like a formerly.
Yeah, I mean, you
thing.
definitely still see people who clearly have not like gone to the dentist or something. But like Michael and his sister both like went to a dentist growing up and had braces. And I have a friend right now that has braces. But maybe that's something. Maybe it's more like later. I mean, Michael had them when he was a kid, but like. Michael's dad is also a solicitor. So, I mean, they were doing okay.
A barrister.
No, he's not. He isn't a barrister.
I know. I say this. I say this every time. A solicitor is different from a barrister.
That's different, apparently.
To me, they're the same thing, but it's fine.
Oh, okay. No, they're different. I don't know. I guess it's like, that's more of like, I don't know. I'd have to ask. He told me once, but I can't remember.
I think it's like a judge. I think he explained it to me at the wedding.
Yeah. Oh, he did. Okay.
And I was like, sure.
Yeah, I know, but you've immediately forgot.
Yeah.
So where was my spot? Yeah, she's given up skiing. And then she's like, skiing isn't really my thing anyway, but don't tell Ron that. And I was like, honestly, I was very surprised that Hermione was going to be skiing. That just doesn't seem like a Hermione thing to me. I don't know. Maybe like cross-country skiing. I could see her being like a cross-country
her little ski
girl.
outfit would be so cute.
Yeah, she would be a cutie.
Ugh.
So she drags Harry back down to his bedroom where they've got like some little sandwiches, which I was like, that's so cute. And then she apparently came on the night bus work. So she was like, oh yeah, so cool. And then apparently Dumbledore told her what happened the very next day after everything went down. Which
because she woke up and she was like, where the fuck are my best friends?
Yeah, she marched right into that boy's dormitory because, the girls can go into the boys. It's fine.
We're not bringing this up again.
Anyways, so she asks how he's feeling and he says, fine. Which once again, Harry, your friends are asking you how you are and you're like clearly struggling. You don't even try to say like, I'm having a little bit of a hard time. Like, it's just, ugh. And she's like, oh, don't lie. And then Ron and Ginny have apparently told her that he's been hiding from them. And then Harry's like, oh, you have you? And Ron kind of looks like a little embarrassed, but Ginny's like, yeah, we did. Like, she is not embarrassed at all. She's like, well, you have been avoiding us.
Right.
And then he's like, sorry, I got so mad at this part. So he's like, you're all talking about me behind my back, huh? And then Ginny says, well, we wanted to talk to you.
Right.
And then he says, I didn't want anyone to talk to me anyway.
So then what are we supposed to do, baby boo?
So then, Harry, I don't want to hear you complain about any of this. I don't want to hear you try and comfort Ginny.
No.
For caring about you?
What are we supposed to do, Buki, if we are not allowed to talk to you or talk about you? We're just supposed to suffer in silence because you want us to?
This is the thing, too, is like, I understand if like you're struggling and like no one is ever like, how are you? How are you doing? And then like then you feel like no one actually asks you what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand that. That's not what's happening for him.
Correct.
So I don't feel like I feel bad that this is happening to him, but I don't feel bad that like they're literally trying to hold space for him. And because Harry doesn't know how to hold space for anybody else.
Or even himself.
Even in this scene. No, or even himself. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Like, because he can't hold space for anyone else. He doesn't know how to allow people to hold space for him. Like, I'm just like, Harry, you are so getting in your own way and making this worse.
Yeah.
So then, thank God for Ginny. Ginny's like, well, you should have, because I'm the only person that you know that's actually been possessed by Voldemort. And I just was like,
give the woman all the awards.
I was just like, thank you, Ginny. Thank you. So, and then, were you annoyed with his response? He just turns around and he goes, I forgot. And then she's like, how convenient for you.
Here's the only thing I'm gonna, because I was annoyed too when I first read it, because I was like, you were the one who earlier in this chapter was thinking about Quirrell. You thought of Quirrell on your own. So obviously you're thinking about other situations. This is the only thing I'm gonna say. Harry still, in his brain, has not reconciled that Tom Marvolo Riddle is Lord Voldemort. He still sees them as like two entities.
Separate. Yeah,
so when he's like, Voldemort is possessing me, he's thinking like Dark Lord Voldemort, not like
adult
young Tom Riddle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why, because I think he's just like...
I still think it's stupid because fighting a basilisk would have been one of the most exciting things that's ever happened to you in your entire life. So I feel like I'd be thinking about it every other day, but maybe that's just me.
And like a phoenix saved your life with its tears.
Yes, a phoenix that you just saw
Pretty
yesterday.
Memorable. Well, Adam, you know, in the 4th book, he almost died like 3 times. So he's just...
It's true.
He's like, I don't remember that. But yeah, he remembered Quirrell. And I'm like, that was 1 year before this situation with Ginny anyway. So it's just ridiculous. So Harry's like, I forgot. And then she's like, how convenient for you. And he's like, sorry. And then he just kind of immediately like starts talking. He's like, so tell me like, what is it like? Like, I don't know. Something about that. I was like, why don't you... He could have been like, what was that like for you? It's just annoying. But okay, so this is who Harry is though, which I think I have to like remember. Like he doesn't have like, he's not really emotionally aware. And it shows with how he talks to people.
I wish he like in this moment, I wish he sat with the uncomfortability that he made his friends feel bad.
Yes. Like take some
I wish he said
type
like,
of
I'm sorry. And they like had a moment where they were like, it's fine. But like, blah, blah,
he just
blah.
says, sorry. What was it like?
Directly moves on. Yeah.
Yes. And then it's just everything is revolving around him feeling better again. Like it's just when I'm like, this was literally a traumatic event in Ginny's life.
This would
and
be
you're
the
just
most
like, can you tell me about it?
If I was Hermione, this would be the most exhausting year of my life.
I know. I don't understand.
She's
don't
also
understand
a prefect.
How they're all...
Just think about that on top of it. I'm sorry. She's also a prefect who does her job. So like,
exactly.
It's different from Ron in that way.
But Ron also isn't like emotionally aware. So it's just like, it's Hermione. This is why her and Ginny become friends. Because she fully is just like, no, the boys don't. They just
but
like,
this
are
is
not
the
on my
other
level.
thing too that really bothers me about the way
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, it annoys me that Harry's like this.
I really hate that I'm going to bring up gender again. I really hate
the fact
that
it's
a huge
always part
gendered.
Of these books.
But the fact that like Hermione and Ginny think the exact same way, but clearly like Ron and Harry like similarly like don't know how to like.
I know it's annoying. It's
There's
really annoying.
not two ways of being, and I'm not even specifically referring to gender. I just feel like everything is always gendered with her.
Yes, it
like
is.
As soon as she has decided the gender of a character, there are like specific modes that the character has to be. Yeah. Unless they're a villain, in which they can be different. Because it's villainous to not be the standard. Oh my God. Yeah.
I know. It's bad. It's bad. So.
Because like it would have been how important and like cool would it have been if Ron had been able to be like, we really like Ron. Because Hermione has already blown up at him in this book. She's already done the like, I'm done with this. This is very annoying. So, like, I like that she's the one who comes and initiates the situation. But, like, how cool would it have been for Ron in this moment to be the one that finally is like, I understand how I understand how you feel, Harry.
Yeah.
But, like, we are not here to not be your friend. Like, we are here to support you through this. And,
but
like,
see, she just always does the thing where the women do all of the emotional labor.
Yep. It's
all of it. It's all, like, the fact that Ginny's now in on it too. It's like, oh yeah, Ron couldn't, like you said, have a moment where he's finally like, oh, hey, Harry, like, you need to chill, dude. No, Ginny has to be brought into it because only the women can. And I'm like, if you're
so annoying.
If you're trying to say that that's what normally happens, like, yeah, that's true. But, like, that's not interesting. And that's not, like, Harry is literally supposed to be, like, the hero of this book. And you're like, this is how he's acting towards his friends?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I think it's interesting that, like, Harry is having this reaction because I do think that, like, the feeling unclean, that aspect is really interesting. Like, the fact that she even gets into that and, like, the depressive state is very, like, I feel like that's not really addressed in children's books, especially not before this,
not
really. So that's really cool. But I hate how we come out of it. It's just like, okay, and we're moving on. Because, like, that's also not how, obviously, depression works. I'm not expecting this book series to explain depression perfectly. But, like, I don't know. Just, like, a little bit more thought is always the feeling I come away with when we talk about these books is I'm like, you just didn't, you did the first thought. And the first thought is, like, I will say it's, like, good. The first thought is, like, good. It's not bad. But then you don't it's a rough draft. And you don't polish it. You want your characters to be flawed. Yeah, it's not interesting if your characters are perfect, but, like, they should be, like, exhibiting a certain amount of growth where, like, I feel like Harry could really be gaining some self-awareness in this book specifically, like, with what's going on with him. And I just don't know if it ever really comes for him. Like, I'm trying to think of the other books after this, and I just don't think, I understand we're talking about teenagers, but, like, there has to be something like that happening because you know that, like, other teenagers are going to read this book and, like, but also it's not even just about that. It's about specifically, like, how you tell a story. Your protagonist has to change.
Yes.
Your protagonist has to learn something.
And it's just like you can't
just save it all for the fucking King's Cross chapter in fucking book 7. I'm just like, girl.
You need to think about, like, that books are, like, teaching people lessons and, like, that kind of stuff, you know? Like, I mean, I think about, unfortunately, maybe what was the message that was sent to, like, girls who, like me, who are so obsessed with Hermione, that, like, that was normal. Like, it's like, because I think that message did get sent to me.
Yeah.
Like, thinking about me in high school and, like, the boys I was around other than Adam. Like, the guys I would, like, date and kind of, like, what they were like. It's like, ooh, yuck. But that also might just be Midwestern America. So, Midwestern girls, you know what I mean. Slim pickings out there. I also wish,
like, I felt like the secondary characters, like, also grew as well. And sometimes I really don't. Like, Hermione has been this role in this friend group for 5 books now. And she has not developed further. And she hasn't, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Now we've just got Ginny in on it, too.
Yeah. It's very frustrating.
So Ginny asks Harry if he can remember everything he's been doing. She's like, are there just, like, big, like, empty spots, basically? Like, just, like, where you're kind of just, like, blacked out for hours at a time. Things missing from your memory, stuff like that. Because that's what she experienced. And Harry's like, no, not really. Which, like, I'm just like, she's literally talking about when she was possessed. And you're just like, oh, well, that's not really happening for me. But, like, he just moves on so fast. He'd be like, well, this is what it's like for me. And she's like, no. And Hermione makes the point. She's like, you've had dreams like this before. Like, it's happened. And then Ron's like, yeah. And you also didn't physically move. Like, you were in the bed the whole time I saw you. And then this is where I made a note. This is why you need to communicate with people, specifically with your friends, because as soon as he is talking to them, guess what? He feels better. And so I'm like, you were literally making yourself miserable because like your friends actually care about you and you're just like hiding away up in the attic, whatever. I was like, this is why it's important. I understand some people like process things internally before they come and have a conversation with someone that they feel safe with. That's fine. I just mean that like, it's good for you to talk about things as a human being. So Harry, come on.
He also like never thanks them, which is like a big
it's just
there's never gratitude shown to his friends. It's so annoying.
And no awareness. Like it's just and then he's like, I'm the weapon. I'm not the weapon. It wasn't me. And that's pretty much like the end of it.
Yeah. And then they go to
That's
Christmas.
like it. There's no like moment of like, I'm sorry I was acting like a jerk. Thank you for talking to me. Like it's so annoying. Like this was like the most annoyed I was at him the whole book.
And like this is fucking book 5. This is however 700 pages. Like you have the room to write a paragraph of being like,
this is the longest one. Yeah.
Right. I don't.
But that's what I think. I don't think that she thinks that's like an important skill for like men to have. And that's the part that makes me the most
it freaks me out. Yeah.
Girl. Yeah. Like makes me sick. So I'm like, girl. So anyway, talk to your friends.
It's giving second wave. Like.
It is. So Harry's like, oh, thank God I'm not the weapon after all. And then Sirius walks by singing God Rest Ye Merry Hippogriffs. And then Harry's just like, oh, how could I have ever considered leaving? Like, I can't believe I was actually considering leaving and going away. Silly me. I'm just like, so mad. So they wake up on Christmas morning to a pile of presents. Adam? I think that Hermione's presents to Ron and Harry are actually her trying to make her own life easier because they're always copying her homework. So she's fair. Hey, maybe if you make a freaking homework schedule, you won't have to copy my work all the time.
Fair.
Just like that too, Adam. The fact that like she always does her homework and then it's like, oh, it's just normal that they don't do the work and they just get to copy hers. Oh, it's so annoying.
I know.
I don't like it.
I know.
It happens too often. Every once in a while, fine. But like,
it's also
so annoying.
It's
like one-sided.
I didn't like this gift either because Hermione's gifts normally.
I had this thought too.
Are good. They're normally
are like she's a good gift giver.
Gifts. Yeah, she's a good gift giver. And this year she like doesn't listen. She's
fed up.
She's worried about the OWLs. Fine. Like I can give her a reasoning as to why she would get these as gifts. This is not who you've established Hermione as a character though, and like how she is a gift giver in general. Like
she just knows her friends very well.
I hated that she turned the only female character that didn't give, like, I would say like all the other women who give gifts, like specifically like Molly Weasley, or I don't remember if Ginny gives gifts, but I feel like they're always, the gifts are practical. They're always like
a sweater, a jumper,
or like whatever. And now it's like an agenda, and like. These are gifts, right? I'm not saying they're not gifts, but like there is something about I liked that Hermione would like think about like she got Harry that like broom cleaning set. She knew how much he like cared about his like how he wanted to take care of his broom. Mm-hmm. How do you go from that to an agenda?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. She just fed up, Adam.
And she got them both the same thing.
Yeah. She's over it. She's like, Harry, you haven't been nice enough to me, and Ron, you have like no awareness. So
she should have got Ron how to be a prefect for dummies.
She should have. You know what? I just thought about in this moment though that like at least Ron when he had that day with the Quidditch situation when like he didn't win,
he just went off alone.
When Ron had that moment of feeling really down on himself. Yes, he went away and like was by himself, but when he came back and was sitting in front of Harry and Hermione, he said, "This is the worst I've felt in my whole life." And he was able to vocalize that.
Yes.
Harry, you have never like calmly sat and been like, "I feel really terrible. I'm really depressed." Like calmly said that to your friends.
Right.
And then when Ron said that to you, you just went, "Join the club." So like Ron, even when I'm not giving Ron like any kudos, but he at least has been able to do that. So he does have some emotional awareness.
Yeah.
So it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
So Fred and George apparate into the room, and Molly is apparently crying because Percy has sent back his Christmas jumper. So they're just warning everyone to kind of stay out of the kitchen for a little bit. But at first I was like, oh, like no one's going to comfort her. But they said like Lupin will like make her feel better. So I was like, okay, well, I'm glad that she's not just like by herself down there crying.
Another way that Lupin is queer coded.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lupin is definitely very like emotionally mature. I'm sure he's very in touch with his feelings.
He had to be.
Yeah, he didn't have a choice.
Also, like,
so
Percy.
What'd you say?
Percy fucking sucks.
I know.
That's below low. Like, why would you send it back?
Your mom.
You don't have to wear it
for you.
Oh my God, what an asshole.
He is. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
So they head down with Hermione in the hall, and she's got a present for Creature, apparently, a little patchwork quilt. So they go down to his bedroom / den / nest. Under the cupboard off of the kitchen where like the boiler is. He's made this little nest. And inside of it is a bunch of photos of the Black family, including one of none other than Bellatrix. And I just went, eek. They don't see him. So Hermione just leaves his present in the nest. So Sirius in this moment actually comes along and he's like, actually, has anyone seen Creature? And no one has seen him since Sirius told him to get out. And Harry's like, he may have left the house because if, Dobby came to see Harry and then just like punished himself once he got back, he's like, then Creature could do that too, technically. And so there's like a very short moment where Sirius looks a little bit worried, but then he just kind of shrugs it off and he's like, I'll look for him later. It's okay. So they have a nice little Christmas lunch and then get ready. Yeah, remember that for later.
It's so stupid. Just look for the damn house elf. What do you mean I'm going to look for him later? Look for him now.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They enjoy a little Christmas lunch and then they get ready to head out to see Mr. Weasley at St. Mungo's. So St. Mungo's has now been decorated for Christmas, and it's also not as crowded as it was the last time that they came in. So cool. They go into Arthur's room and they see that he's looking. Well, they see the reader or Harry, like from Harry's perspective.
Yeah.
Arthur looks a bit sheepish for some reason when they come in, and then he asks for healer Smithwick.
This is so funny.
And then Molly takes a look at his little bandages and asks why his bandages have been changed early because he apparently told her they were going to be changed like in a couple days.
Tomorrow.
And then Boxing
Day.
Yes. And then he's apparently asked the healer to test out some muggle stitches.
This is so funny.
And then, I'm sorry, I think this is my favorite moment of this whole chapter. When this starts happening, everyone kind of disperses, and Lupin goes over to the man who has just become a werewolf because he's looking at the Weasleys and Harry and Hermione. Mm-hmm. And no one's come to visit him, and he's like kind of looking over like longingly at Arthur, who has all these visitors. And I just was like, I want this. Someone write the chapter of what Lupin and this man talked about. I feel like they were friends forever after this. Like, oh, it was so sweet. I was like, oh, thank God. And we never hear about it ever again, like what happened.
Ever again.
But I want to know what their conversation was. And I just loved that. Like when they mentioned the werewolf guy, like I remembered that this happened and was like already excited to read this. So I love Lupin. But anyway, so Molly's like really going in on Arthur because she's like, why did you do this? What are you crazy?
My favorite part is like, he like is like, well, we tried something that the Muggles call stitches, and Harry's like, well, I think I'm gonna go get some tea.
Right, well, on that note,
like him and Hermione, who both know what stitches are, we're like, oh, I do not want to be here.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. Yeah, I mean, apparently, they just didn't work because of the venom. So because it was like a venomous wound, it's not working properly. Like Hermione assumes that the venom is like dissolving the stitches or whatever. Yeah. And then Molly's like, he's like, well, you don't really know what stitches are, Molly. And she's like, well, it sounds like you're trying to like sew yourself up, but you can't be that stupid. And then he's like, that's the general idea. Yes. And she's like, what? So it's just getting worse. But then as they're walking away, Hermione's like, I mean, they do work well on magical wounds. So to be fair, but she was like, but definitely not with like a venomous snake bite wound. No way.
Yeah.
So they're heading to the tea room, which is on the 5th floor. So they're going up the stairs. And as they're walking through the hallways, the portraits are trying to diagnose them. And Ron gets diagnosed with Spattergroit because of his freckles, which I was like, what's going on?
Fine.
People had freckles back in the day, girl.
Yeah. Okay.
Not as clever as you thought it was. Freckles have been around since the beginning of time. So as they step up on the 4th floor, Harry sees a man peering out at him and recognizes him as the one and only Gilderoy Lockhart. Naturally, he's wearing a long lilac dressing gown because, of course, he's not lost his love for color. And I love that for him.
Slay.
Yeah. So he pushes open the door and walks out and then immediately assumes that they all want autographs, which I was like, I actually like this. I like that he like what he can remember of himself is like that.
I'm famous. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's like kind of he's talking to all of them. But at one point when Harry's talking to him, something jogs his memory a little bit. And he's like, have we met? And then Harry explains, yeah, they have because he used to teach them at Hogwarts. And then he's like, oh, I did I? Taught you everything I know? Or taught you everything you know?
Yeah.
It's just so funny. Taught you everything you know, eh? Like, he's just so cocky. He can't help it. It's just him. It's just who he is.
It's him.
A motherly looking healer comes out and like grabs him to try and like guide him back to his room because he's in a closed ward, I guess. Because it's like people that have to stay there indefinitely, basically.
Yeah.
And the way that she's talking to him, it's mentioned that she's talking to him as if he was a precocious 2-year-old, which I was like,
that's really
like it's a little dangerous, but all right.
Yeah.
Treating this grown man like he's 2.
Yeah.
And then he tells her that they, as in the kids, want loads of autographs. Pretty sure Ron just said, no, actually, we don't. We got to go.
I really I'm going to be really honest. I really like the way this chapter ends because I think because it's all about getting to the reveal of Neville's parents in the ward, but using Gilderoy to get there, I think is really smart because you don't really know where this is going when you start.
Not at all. Not at all. I remember being really shocked when this happened the first time I read it. So we learn that Gilderoy's memory still hasn't come back after the curse that he tried to hit Harry and Ron with reverberated back to him. And they go to the closed ward that he has been staying in that is clearly set up for people that are going to be there for, essentially forever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does sound like essentially, he has what we would kind of think of as like Alzheimer's. So he just doesn't really remember. He can't even like walk down the hallway without getting like a little lost. And he won't know how to get back to his room. So his memory is like really bad. Also, the nurse mentions a Mr. Bode, who is also in the room. And apparently he's learning how to speak again. So he is able to like speak somewhat coherently now. Mm-hmm. But he's like speaking in a language they're not familiar with or something. Yeah. So, and then the witch just leaves. She like leaves them to visit with Gilderoy. Mm-hmm. So his bed is surrounded with pictures of himself. that he's signed to himself in like very childish writing. So it's like, think back to when you first learned cursive, or is what they call it in this joint up writing, which I thought was so cute.
Yeah.
Joint up writing. He's exactly the same basically, even though he's lost.
Yeah.
He has no memory of who he was. He's essentially the same. So, and he also still gets a bunch of fan mail. There's like a woman that writes him like,
weekly.
Was it every week? Yeah.
Yes.
And he was like, I can't. He was like, I wish I knew why. Anyway.
Yeah.
He has like the memory of a goldfish. Like he just gets right back into it. So he starts signing and then he's like, tells Ginny she can put them in envelopes. It's just a whole thing.
Yeah.
So Bode is described as sallow-skinned and mournful. And then there's also a woman in the room whose entire head is covered in fur. Yeah. And then lastly, there's flowery curtains that have been pulled around what look like the last two beds for privacy reasons. So we learned that the woman with the hair all over her face, her name is Agnes, and she barks when her Christmas presents arrive. And then her son is coming to visit her tonight. So good for Agnes.
Good for Agnes.
And then Broderick Bode. Okay, I was like, that doesn't seem right. Broderick Bode was sent a potted plant and a calendar with hippogriffs on them. Just remember that for later. Do you remember anything to do with Bode, Adam?
Nope.
Okay.
I have no idea where this is going.
Great. And then...
Is he the Horcrux?
He's the Horcrux, yes. The OG. And then, at this moment, a very depressed Neville follows out his Gran from those flowery curtains that were drawn for privacy reasons. So Harry obviously knows what's going on. So he like sees Neville, realizes what's happening, wants to try and make some kind of distraction so that Neville can leave being unnoticed, or he can go unnoticed. Yeah. But Ron has already seen him because the nurse had said like, oh, leaving already, Mrs. Longbottom, which obviously is not a very common name. So Ron's like, who dat? And so Neville jumps because Ron's like, Neville, hey, man, like, just, what's going on? Who are you seeing? What's up, bro? Like, literally so excited as if he saw him like out at the mall. Like, I'm like, you're literally at a hospital.
Yeah, we're at Pinkberry. Yeah, it's Red Mango, and we're...
Yeah, I mean, it's just, like, it's crazy. So, yeah, Neville, like, jumps. So I was like, this poor BB, like, he's just, like, so startled, and he, like, cowers, like, from Ron saying his name. And so Ron's like, yeah, look, Lockhart's right here. Isn't this crazy? Like, who are you seeing? Just, like, conversationally. Yeah. And then Neville turns purple and, like, is avoiding making eye contact with everyone. And I just want to say that Neville's Gran is such a mood.
Yeah.
Like, I love her. I was like, oh my God, I want her to be my Gran. I
didn't remember the like energy she gives. Like, I didn't remember how this interaction goes generally. Yeah. I just remember that it is revealed. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if she's going to be like me or just whatever. But she's just so like, she feels, honestly, this is going to sound stupid, but she feels very Midwestern, and it's very like a matter of fact conversation. She's very polite, but she's like, you should be proud of your parent. Like, I have met people like this before. Minus the comment that Neville doesn't have his father's talent. I was down with everything else that she said. That also feels very Midwestern. Yeah, that's true. When I picture Neville's grandmother, to be honest, I know that Maggie Smith played Minerva, obviously, but I always picture Lady Grantham from Downton Abbey. I always picture her as Lady Grantham, like being Neville's grandmother. Like that's always who I picture. I picture like Annam from The Wizard of Oz. Oh yeah, I could see that too. Sure. Yeah. Just like a very plain woman. Very Midwestern. Yeah. It's very like Kentucky. Yeah. Kansas. So yeah, Kansas. Sorry, Kentucky. Kansas. We're not in Kansas anymore. We're not in Kentucky anymore. Tony. You heard it here first, y'all. It's actually Kentucky. So Neville's
Gran is like, yes, I've heard all about you, which I was like, this is so sweet. I like actually got a little teary-eyed at this part, Adam, which has not ever really happened to me reading a Harry Potter book. So this is very much like an adult reading the book thing, like going back and being like, she was like, yes, Neville's told me so much about you. Like, she's like, oh, you two must be Weasleys. Oh, yes, the Weasleys are very fine people. And she's like, Hermione, yes, I've heard about you. Oh, yes, I know all about you. And then, blah, 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 blah.
Because we haven't even had, like, we have not had an adult interact with kids like this before.
No, this is like
it also leads to, like, you can tell, like, even though Neville and his Gran, like, I'm sure butt heads at times, obviously.
Yeah.
That, like, he shares with her, like, about his life, and she, like, knows what's going on, and it's very sweet. That,
I think
like,
they have a very, like, healthy,
yeah,
not parent, because she's his grandparent, but, like, grandparent, guardian to, like, kid relationship.
Yeah. Because, like, even Hermione's parents, I'm sure Hermione tells her parents a lot of stuff. But there's not even a scene with them where they're like, oh, you must be Harry Potter. We've heard so much about you. Like, I don't know if they've ever talked.
We don't meet her, really. No, yeah. So she says that Neville's a good boy, but he hasn't got his father's talent, which I was like, okay, girl, savage. She's
not wrong.
Ron's like, I mean, she's not wrong. That's true, but she didn't have to say it.
It's all confidence, though. I think, honestly, with Neville, it's just he has no fucking confidence.
Yeah. I bet
it's there. He just can't tap into it.
Yeah, it comes in the end in the last book. That's when he, like, his bravery surfaces. So Ron's like, oh, like, ask if his dad's down there. He's like, oh, is your dad down there? And then Neville's grandma is like, have you not told them about your parents? And Neville's like, no. Still not looking at anyone. Mm-hmm. And then Gran says, it's something to be ashamed of, to which Neville's like, I'm not ashamed. Still not looking at anyone.
Yeah.
And then Neville's grandmother explains that her son and his wife were tortured into insanity by Voldemort's followers. And I made sure to write exactly that because I wanted to get it exactly right, that she just says this so directly.
Yep.
Which honestly, once again, like, I love her because she's just like, this is exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. They were very well-known Aurors. They were very respected, and they were tortured into insanity because they were fighting against Voldemort and his Death Eaters.
Yeah.
She says, whose followers. She does not say Voldemort.
Right.
And then Hermione and Ginny both gasp, and Ron looks mortified, which honestly, good. Because you were literally craning your neck to see who was back there.
You're in a ward that's like, people have been, I don't know. You're clearly in a ward where people are going through things, sir. Who do you think?
Yeah, come on
Who do you think
now.
Neville is visiting on Christmas Day in this ward?
Just for funsies. Yeah, exactly. Have some awareness. Girl, so much of this could be solved if they were just a little bit more aware. At this exact moment, Neville's mother, Alice, comes out of the curtains, and she looks somewhat like, her features basically just look like she's kind of like in shock. Like her eyes are really wide. Harry says she's lost a lot of weight since that picture that he saw of her. Like she doesn't have like a round, chubby face anymore. And her hair has gone completely white. She comes out and like gestures to Neville and then gives him an empty blowing gum wrapper. And then Neville says, thanks, Mom. And Adam, I literally like had tears in my eyes in this part. Like I was literally
I had tears in my eyes when he pockets it after she tells him to throw it away. Oh, God.
And then she like walked away and she was humming to herself. And then he slips it into his pocket. And then he kind of like looks at them as if like they're going to make a comment, which of course they don't.
Of course.
They're all just like...
Could you imagine if they had? I would stop reading the book.
Oh my
I'd be
God.
like, and the podcast is ending.
Yeah, the worst human being on earth to make a comment about that. Like that, I would be like, that was the sweetest thing I've ever seen, Neville. Like,
I'm going to be really honest. It's kind of crazy that Malfoy has never made a comment about. There's no way that Malfoy doesn't know this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe it's just, would that be like going too far?
A step too far?
Does he have? I don't know if Malfoy has that type of
not yet,
thought,
at least.
Though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the reason is just she wanted to save this moment.
Of course.
It's like, But yeah, I mean, that is a good point because I'm surprised that his dad wouldn't, or Bellatrix wouldn't gloat about.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So Neville leaves with his grandma. Hermione says that she never knew. Ron agrees, basically. And Ginny's like, yeah, I didn't know either. And then they all look at Harry and he's like, I did know actually because Dumbledore told me, but he promised, or he made me promise that I wouldn't tell anyone.
Yeah, Harry had to sign an NDA. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to sign an NDA. And then he explains that Bellatrix actually was one of the people that did it. She was one of the people that tortured his parents. And then Hermione's like, the woman that Creature has a photo of? Great. And then the chapter ends with Gilderoy saying, look, I didn't learn joined up writing for nothing, you know.
Yeah. I will say this book does a really good job at the Bellatrix reveal at the end of this book. Because like setting it in the last book and then like interspersing these references to her and what she's done throughout the book in order to like reveal that she's a little crazy, a little craven. And
I think that this moment, the like Neville and his grandmother and then like his parents being in that ward and stuff, in this moment of how it's like they're all the kids are like so shocked that this is the truth of Neville's story. Oh, well done. I hate to give her a compliment, but
yeah,
well done.
And it's also like it puts into perspective the reality of what the Order of the Phoenix like is.
What it really is about.
Because it's one thing to be like, well, we all know Harry's parents died, but also like as we learn later, obviously, we know they were like targeted for a very specific purpose that we technically will find out at the end of this book. But
his parents died like saving him. Neville's parents, they just died, or they just went mad because they were like trying to do good. So it's just like, and Neville is still being affected by it to this day because they're still alive and he goes to see them. And so it's just like the repercussions of Voldemort and his followers are.
It's a good follow up to the conversation or the argument that Sirius and Fred and George had last chapter where they were like, he was like, they know, you know what you're getting into and that's why you're not in the fucking order.
Yeah.
That's why you're not ready for it.
Exactly. Sorry. But yeah, that's it. That's the chapter.
Right. Well, that wraps up this chapter. Next week, we will be reading chapter 4 called Occlumency. We have a comment from our YouTube from the last chapter. We do. So, Paper Star Girl says, I'm a Boys Love Boys Planet crossover listener. We love cross-pollination.
I know. I love it.
And as an anxious LGBTQ millennial who can't stand Joe but loved Harry Potter in high school, I feel so at home listening to you. The Hermione love just seals it for me. I would like to say that Ari has incredible opinions and Adam is also there. Just kidding. I've just always wanted to shade Adam for having worse taste than RJ. Fair enough. You're both very comforting, funny, and real to listen to, and I love the occasional tangents and asides you throw in. Occasional is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Occasional. Thank you for this podcast. If I used any Apple products, I would give it 5 stars. Thank you so much. I didn't even
think about that until she left that comment. That I'm like, there's just a lot of people that don't use Apple products, so we need to. But I guess we have Spotify, right? Does Spotify have a review option? No.
It has a rating option, but it's not have a review option.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So comments also count. Thanks, guys. Comments Thank you so much. One of us.
K-pop, Harry Potter, K-pop, Harry Potter. Yeah. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel and on Spotify. As always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score. 5 stars only, or else you will
have no emotional awareness.
Right. Yes. You'll be just like Harry and potentially lose your friends because you're such a fucking asshole.
Oh my God.
Why? For what, girl? I was on
he's
his
a
side
nightmare.
too at the beginning of the chapter.
I
when
know,
he was like,
that's the worst part of it. You're on his side. And then he said that line. It was oh, you were all talking about me behind my back, huh? Well, we wanted to talk to you. Well, I didn't want you to talk to me anyway. It's just like,
okay, girl.
how old are you?
15. That's part of the
Yeah,
problem,
15.
to be honest.
15. That's why. That's the issue here. Yeah.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HPAnxious or YouTube and TikTok at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Spotify for podcasters, so thank you to them and are a proud member of The Ampliverse. Please check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Ari.
Thank you, Adam.
And as always, Nox. Happy Christmas.